All right, so imagine you worked for decades and retired with the expectation that the benefits you were promised you'd get.
Turns out that's not the reality for thousands of federal retirees who are still waiting on their checks. Now, they add that information from the Office of Personnel Management is hard to come by. They're not sure how much longer they can go without their money.
Yes, our Larry Miller dug into the complaints, asking the head of OPM what's being done to get these retirees their benefits that are on hold. It's a story you will only see right here on WUSA 9.
It has been very stressful. Paying what I can at a minimum. I've got to keep my lights on. I got to keep a roof over my head.
It was very chaotic. Of course, it was stressful.
How much does a person have to lose? People are becoming homeless.
I spoke with more than 20 federal government retirees who say they feel betrayed when they consider the hurdles they've been going through to try to get their retirement benefits. Two agencies in particular where we receive the most complaints, USAID and the IRS.
How much longer do I have to suffer like this?
We weren't expecting to retire, so, give a little grace.
Last year, thousands of workers left the federal workforce through various programs like the Deferred Resignation Program, better known as DRP. For federal workers who chose the DRP, they were placed on administrative leave with full compensation and then fully separated later.
Was it tough to leave?
Very hard to leave. I worked with people, I can't even explain the connection that you have. You spend more time with them, everybody knows that, than your people at home.
Becky Ratcliffe enjoyed a 27-year career with the IRS, and like many of her colleagues, she opted to participate in the Deferred Resignation Program. Her last day in the office was May 19th, and according to her notice, she would fully separate at the end of September. She knew it would take some time for her retirement benefits to be processed, but not this long. She hasn't received a check since September of last year.
They didn't get me separated on the system, the employee personnel system, until about 2 weeks ago.
Meaning she can't access her full retirement benefits. Karen Atchison is another IRS retiree. She formally separated last September too, but
we are still active employees in the system.
Records show more than 300,000 federal workers left the workforce in 2025, part of an aggressive campaign by the Trump administration to shrink the federal workforce. Included in that number, more than 100,000 retirements, putting a strain on HR professionals. This April email obtained by WUSA 9 and verified by several sources shows the concern an IRS deputy had about the number of retirees last year, noting we currently have 5,876 retirement applications. And if you added up those between the first and second deferred resignation programs, the number would rise to 11,000, with the team responsible for processing those applications operating at 50% capacity, meaning it would take over 5 years to complete the work. The IRS did not respond after multiple requests for comment.
I have to blame IRS, and I have to blame the lack of planning, we'll just let it happen and apologize while people are, losing things. I've heard of people having to file bankruptcy.
USAID retirees say their experience has been especially frustrating after the agency was dismantled due to unfounded claims of fraud. Thousands of employees were fired. Rochelle Sales worked for USAID for 17 years. Her official last day of service was June 30th. That was the last month she also received a paycheck. Since then, she, like the other women here, have been trying to get answers.
I've called OPM 3 times, and each time I've called, they I don't have you in the system. You need to contact your HR department. And unfortunately, because they dismantled our HR and our entire agency, we don't have a contact person. We don't have anybody that we can contact.
I'm just getting ready to hope that my packet goes to OPM and I get a case number.
I have given almost 25 years of federal service, and this is how I get treated?
I took their concerns to the director of the Office of Personnel Management, Scott Cooper.
We're doing everything I think we can right now to try to accelerate it, but recognizing that, unfortunately, until we get the application, which does require, in most cases, an HR and a payroll, piece of it, our ability to start processing it is, again, kind of gated by people getting it through the full application process. The problems you're hearing about, which are real, and I don't want to, say anything differently, are there is a big backlog of cases in IRS that have not made it to OPM yet. What we did in the last couple of weeks was we went through all those cases And there were about 2,000 of them that we were able to just pull out and bypass that process and get them directly to OPM.
Again, the IRS did not respond to our multiple requests for either a comment or an interview. Cooper estimates several thousand IRS retirement applications remained backlogged.
Some of the retirees that we spoke with say that they are having trouble getting information just about sort of where their retirement package stands at this point. And when they call OPM, because they don't have a number, a case number with OPM, there's no way for them to get information, and then they're not getting it at their respective agencies. For those people that are caught up in that situation, what would you recommend?
As you talk to those folks or as you report on it, encourage them to at least go back to log into the ORA system, because they should be able to see if it's sitting in HR or sitting in payroll or sitting in OPM.
Cooper adds retirees begin by contacting the HR department from the agency in which they retired for help as well.
I asked Director Cooper when he expected the backlog to be cleared. He gave me an estimate of about 3 months. Larry Miller, WUSA 9.
Wow. After reaching out for weeks, the IRS finally asked Larry to provide them a list of questions. He sent them over. As soon as he gets a response, he'll bring us an update.